Hello, in this sequence we will speak about test-driven development, so we will revisit testing that you already saw in a previous lecture. So the outline of this lecture is the following, so we will focus on test-driven development and what does it mean. Then we will exemplify it on a simple code, and it will allow us to revisit and to rethink the notion of testing. So write test first. Yes, the idea is to write the test before writing the business code or the model code. So there is a famous quote from Martin Fowler, which is the following: whenever you attempt to type something into a pre-statement or debugger expression, write it as a test instead. And this is exactly the essence of test-driven development. But in fact, TDD is about the flow, the workflow. You should work in a specific manner that is in different forms, that comes in different flavor, and this is one of these flavor here. So usually you start by loading code, you start here, and then when you load code, it could be one of your packages that you are working on, or it could be an external package. You will run all the tests, and if they are green, it's okay, but if one of the tests is broken, is red or yellow, you should fix the test first, and then rerun all the tests. You will rerun everything, you are there, okay? And when everything is green, so perfect, you did it correctly, and you might commit your code, and perhaps you can take a break. So this is the next step. Or now that you committed your code and everything is green, you can clean or refactor your code, and you will rerun all the tests again to see if you didn't introduce a side effect that broke something. And now we are here. At this point, all the tests are green, and you want to introduce a new test or a new feature in your code, and you will start by writing the test first, or modify an existing test. And then you will run this test. Probably it will be red the first time, but it might be green if the functionality already exists in the code base. But if it is red, if it is wrong, it means that you need to write the code. So now it comes to writing the code of the functionality, and then you will rerun the test until it is green, and you will work like that in this loop. I write the code, I test, and if the test is not green, I write more code, etc., etc. Once this loop is finished, so you have a green test, so now it's time for refactoring your code. So it means that you can refactor your code, you can clean the code. And once it's done, you should rerun all the tests. And this is an important step. And when all tests are green, again, you can commit. So this is the workflow that you should do when you are doing test-driven development. Let's see this on an example. So imagine you just created a counter class, which is completely empty. And you will write a test. So I create a counter test class. Inside this class, I added a method, test count. And in this method, I can test a basic functionality of a counter. So I will set up the context, counter new. I could isolate this expression in a setup method of the test, but here I put everything in the test method. And then I can exercise. I will set the counter value here to 10. And here I will assert that the counter value is correctly set, is 10. So now, first, what should I do when I wrote the test? I should execute the test. And most probably it will be red. This is normal because we just defined the counter class, but it's completely empty and there are no accessor inside this class. So far, so good. The test is red. So now it's time to implement the functionality, and then you will rerun the test, and you will work like that until the test is green. Once the test is green, you must run all the tests of the system, because you might introduce some side effects while coding on the code base, and you probably broke or you might broke existing tests. Or perhaps this new functionality broke some code, or either all tests are now wrong because there are new functionality it's completely different. In both cases, you should now fix all of them. This is the basis of TDD. So now that all tests are green, so it's good time to clean and refactor your code. And when you are okay with your code, you should rerun all the tests and then you can commit, because you will commit a completely clean code base. What's the point of writing test first? You specify what you want in test. So the important part is that when you are writing a test, you are writing an executable specification. And this specification is, while you are writing the test, you are describing what you want the code to do. And then, when the test is written, it means that you can build or assemble existing functionality of the code base to build your code. Another good part of writing tests first is that you are your first client, meaning that you will exercise your API. So API, this is application programming interface, before all others. So it means that you are designing your API and using your API before it is even implemented. So it will be better. You are exercising it. And of course, you will exercise it in a clear context, the context of the test, and you can debug it directly. As a conclusion, TDD is a powerful feature. It means that you are writing tests first. It makes you that you will write more solid code base with fewer regressions because you are re-exercising whole tests again and again. And you are your first client, so you will design cleaner API. By the way, do not miss the next lecture on extreme TDD, which is the TDD flavor that we are using in the Faro community.